CouriersQuest is a third-person 3D action-adventure game inspired by Norse mythology. I work as a level designer for this project. I was going to talk about level design and design decisions for this project, but this project gave me a lot of very valuable teamwork experiments. So I want to share and talk about some of the challenges that we have to get through as a team from my point of view. When we officially started this capstone project, we're already off to a bad start because there were conflicting ideas and miscommunication over length versus quality. While part of the team favored making a game with more content and sacrificed length, our leadership and creative director thought the opposite. As a result, at the end of the vertical slice, we have a very large game, but the player is barely interacting with the world. Our art team actually did a really good job. The visual of the level is great, but there's just nothing to do. We joke that our vertical slice is basically a walking simulator. But you know what they say, there's a grain of truth in every joke. This means we have to go back to the vertical slice level and spend more time on it. But this action also raised the first big problem that we have to face as a team: scope. We originally planned for 4 levels and 3 bosses, with one of the level being the tutorial. But now that we have to spend more time on the vertical slice level, we might not have enough time to do all of the levels. So, we had a meeting over this topic. It wasn't an easy decision, and at the end, the team agreed to cut one level off. But for the boss frame rate, we once again divided into 2. We talked about it for about 30 minutes during the meeting, and our creative director decided to keep frame rate. So far, the meeting went great. We solved a lot of problems, but it's not over yet. Later on in the project, when we started to work on Fenrir, it gave us a lot of trouble. We realized that we don't have enough time to do its AI, its abilities, its animation, and the arena. The bigger problem is that the model of the boss has been made, fully textured, rigged, and game ready. We already put so many resources into making this big, spectacular thing, and backtracking was not an option. So, this is where the problem solve comes in. For the design team, I wanted to do something fast and easy without any dependency, because we are at the end of the production. So, I made Fenrir into a chase scene, where the player will have to dodge the environment hazards and avoid getting eaten by Fenrir. This also fits very well in the tutorial level because at the time, we're also lacking a hook or an exciting element that can keep the player in the game. Our programming team also managed to turn Fenrir into an ability that our second boss, Hel, can use. She will cast a spell and summon Fenrir to attack the player. Personally, this moment is definitely the most fun part of being a game developer. Not only do we get ourselves out of a bad situation, but also make it beneficial to us. Another big problem we have to face as a team is task distribution. As the team works together longer and longer, leadership start to realize that not everyone is capable of putting their 100% into the game. They either have to work or auto duty or whatever, not the point here. But people are not getting their work done, or the quality of the work is not up to the task. We end up having to spend more time fixing their work. So instead of giving them some important task, we have decided to create small tasks that they can do. This way they can focus on the small tasks and get it done correctly without sabotaging the project. Another thing that almost tripped us off is that it wasn't until the end of the vertical slice where everyone was on the same page for who the target audience was. In another word, we didn't have any pillar. Some of the team thought we would be focusing on combat, some of the team thought we would be focusing on narrative. I was on the combat side, but at the end, we went for narrative heavy game. It's mainly because we have 5 designers in the team, and 3 of them are narrative designers. We will have the most value out of it if we go for the narrative route. We also decided on our pillars: exploration, narrative, and boss fight. I think the only pillar that is a little lacking is the exploration. But other than that, I think our team did a great job on the rest of the pillar. So these are some of the challenges that we have to face as a team, and how do we get through it? Now I want to talk about things that we can do better as a team. We definitely needed to do our planning better. At the time when I started this project, no one knew what a level design document is, including myself. All we have is a game design document. So the consequences is me and the creative director keep going back and forth on how the level should look like, and we are not in the same page most of the times. We also didn't do enough research before we wanted to make a giant wolf that player can fight and climb on. Non-humanoid creatures are incredibly harder to do. Our character artists actually did a great job on the creature itself, but we just don't have enough time to learn how to make the animation work well as the AI. Also, we didn't hold people accountable. Our team's vibe is very peaceful. Even if someone did something wrong, we didn't really get into it. We would just kind of just let it slide. This is wrong, but this is a very hard thing to do because we still want people to know what is the wrong with their work, but without going too harsh on it. Unfortunately, we did not find a balance. We as a team are on the soft side. So those are the things that we didn't do well as a team. Now I want to talk about things we did well as a team. I think we made the right decision to cut one level off and just spend more time on our vertical slice level. It is the most important level of the game. Everyone needs a reference of how the game should look like so we can stay consistent throughout the entire game. Our art team also have a very consistent style and pipeline. Even with one of our artists' main focus was realistic style, but we still managed to make the game feel stylized by using shaders. Our team also have a very positive vibe throughout the entire 8 months of us developing the game. We might be a little too positive though. But the working environment is very good. We make jokes all the time, we make memes out of our games. One thing that we did to contribute to that good working environment is that we host mini game jams every so often. This is very important to us because we are working remotely. We will just sit in the Discord call and work for the entire day. This is a very good way to form bonds between team members. Our producer also collected all of our memes throughout the entire project and made it into a meme video. Overall, I think our team has a very good culture. Before I end the video, I want to say that me and my creative director don't always go eye and eye throughout the entire project. Things even got personal at one point. But at the end of the day, we are still a team, and we both kept it very professional despite the fact that we don't agree with each other all the time. I appreciate these experiments. It teach me a lot of very valuable lessons.